Hello YouTube, welcome in. Right now, we're going to check out Goji Center, which is a new channel that I've been told I need to react to because it's kind of like a death battle, but with monsters. So we're going to start off with this one here. This is one of the ones I was recommended. Can the Indominus Rex survive Skull Island? Here's what would happen. So the Indorex is a Raptor Rex hybrid from one of the Jurassic Park movies. Very interesting. Don't know too but Skull Island is, I think, the island that Kong lives on, or like King Kong, one of the kaiju islands. I know very little actually about the what is it called? The monsterverse stuff. So maybe we'll start here and then spread into the monsterverse stuff. See what happens. Anyway, we'll start with this. Yeah.
Today, the Indominus Rex will be resurrected from the dead and be tasked with the most dangerous challenge yet. After laying waste to most of the animals in Isla Nublar and proving herself the superior land predator, will she be able to survive one of the most dangerous islands of all time? In this episode, we will follow the Indominus's journey through different terrain and the monsters that hide within. Will she survive, or will she die again?
I'm going to assume she's probably going to die because, as far as I know about Skull Island, it is a violent place. And technically speaking, she got clapped by a T-Rex, pretty much by on solo, but not really clapped. But there was a group effort with a few other things. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. I don't know. Once again, I don't know how everything works in this series. I don't know the power scalings. So we'll find out. I'm just going to assume she's probably not going to survive very long.
Coming up, Indominus Rex enters Peter Jackson's Skull Island. Yep, that's right. For this episode, we're switching.
Yeah, if that's true, that's true. In one of the movies, King Kong fights a couple T-Rexes, and he wins. So Just saw one King Kong movie over a decade ago. True, Shane.
Things up a little bit. In the past few episodes following this format, we have focused more on the horrors featured in the monsterverse version of Skull Island. Today's Skull Island is arguably scarier. Some of the creatures are more horrifying, and it just so happens that this island has a better established lore. So, that said, sit back and get comfortable, because there's a lot going on to discuss on this island that may change the outcome of this.
So this isn't even the monsterverses? Skull Island? This is just a different for Skull Island altogether? Oh, okay.
Simulation. And a special surprise outcome, or announcement at the end, so pay close attention. We'll resurrect our Indominus Rex and bring her back to life. Thanks to Vastopia's cutting-edge technology, we'll be able to regenerate her mutilated corpse and bring her back to the world of the living, keeping all her memories of the past up until this moment. Hopefully she learned a few lessons from her short time period out of her enclosure. Now she'll be sent back in time to Skull Island, the one featured in the film King Kong back in 2005.
Okay, so this is the one that I watched. The ones that have the T-Rexes running around, the ones that have the giant, grubs and crickets and all that fun, unpleasant stuff. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Also, I'm liking the 3D animation. It's looking really good.
The year, however, will be 1933, shortly before the arrival of these guys. Very quickly, though, we'll see what this island is up against. Note that during the events of Jurassic World 2015, the Indominus Rex was not fully grown yet, at a little over 40 feet in length. Here on this island...
It's not fully grown?
What will serve her well is her high level of intelligence and problem solving. A very lethal bite with a jaw that can open very wide, thick hide, and a skull that can withstand heavy impacts. Stealth-wise, this one is equipped with good vision, heat detection, ability to remove her own thermal signature, and blend into its environment using camouflage. A side effect of being this smart is curiosity, which of course leads us to the first part of this simulation, the scouting phase. The Indominus Rex, after learning in her previous life that not all animals are harmless hadrosaurs and lesser life forms,
she's part giraffe, yes, tall.
Likely think twice once she steps onto an island where the soil itself is fertilized by the countless corpses that fall upon it each second. Yeah, a bit of lore for you. This island used to be a lot bigger and is currently sinking. meaning that over time, all animals end up living closer together, confrontations more frequent, subsequently instigating an evolutionary arms race that brings forth horrendous life forms, diseases, and death. The air here is stale.
So shit needs to fight constantly in order to make sure that they have to, they have a good area to live, but because there's constantly fighting, nothing's living too terribly well, and constant fighting brings, disease, wounds, and all this other fun stuff that making things just not have a very long lifespan.
Not a single life form is safe, and Indominus here is about to find that out. In this scenario, the Indominus was released in the jungles. Now, our Indom does have experience being in a similar environment before, and will know that it's better to see your opponents first before they see you. Here, she'll adjust her body temperature and camouflage into the environment to practically be invisible. The soft pads on her feet, courtesy of the T-Rex DNA, silence her movements slightly, but will this be enough? To our knowledge, there isn't another animal here that will rival the Indominus stealth-wise and size-wise. However, she's not the only ambush specialist here. Some of these do rival the Indominus in size, which may cause some issues.
Oh, she was just like, oh, please let it not notice me, please no. Though I don't think that thing had any eyes, right?
Here, some of these do rival.
Yeah, it looks like that thing might be blind.
In size.
Unless they just didn't worry too much about making eyes on this model. She needs those foot pads.
Which may cause some issues. For instance, there's a particularly vicious predator around here known as Carver or Chiropter interfector. These Gorgonopsid-like butchers are strong and dexterous, meaning that they are really good at using their hands and forelimbs. These aren't as big as our Indominus.
Also, the production value on these videos are really good. Really surprised. I've never actually watched any of Goji Center's stuff. This might be a start of something. Might be a little bit of a start of something. But I think I'm going to need to know a little bit about the monsterverses before I really get into this stuff.
Rex measuring at a maximum of 33 feet, but these are usually found in pairs, meaning that these can be a real issue in a two-prong attack. Getting ambushed by these guys is possible thanks to their exceptional sense of smell. However, being practically invisible to the eye and thermal sensors, Indominus may be able to quickly dispatch one of these first, leaving the remaining widow or widower to run and cut its losses. A few Phaetodons will certainly attack anything.
Oh, it did have eyes. It just looked really bad. Why does it have people eyes? Oh no.
Thing that moves in front of it, but measuring around half of the length of this Indominus means that our Indom doesn't just have the upper hand in size, but also in strength. In the jungle of Skull Island, we do find more animals that are difficult, but not impossible to handle for the Indominus. A quick rundown includes Diablosaurus, the Asperodorsus, a sauropod nowhere near as large as the larger Apatosaurus from Nublar, Silvaceratops, and Atacorasaurus. All animals that very much...
So they're so all the like herbivore or like offshoot animals in Skull Island, they seem like they're dinosaur adjacent. And adjacent is kind of loose here, because this is basically like a stego or a not capro, Kentro, I think it's called. But it's got a lot more spikes and only a single row of plates on its back, by the looks of it. But it has a bunch more scales and all that fun stuff. Whereas we had a Bronto, like a sauropod that had a bunch of spikes, and our own kinds of like Ceratops type critters and all that stuff.
Much resemble creatures that the Indominus Rex would have already faced. Against these animals, the Indom would still put out a win without suffering a fatal injury, but the dense forest
might suffer a fatal injury if he's, stupid.
Would prove too troublesome. Hearing the sounds of larger dinosaurs, something familiar to her, she'd continue to the lowlands, but would have to pass through some other types of terrain first. While the Indom could easily navigate through the jungles and riverways of Skull Island, her size and base template species would compel her to take up territory similar to what T-Rex did. Though she is curious to see what's going on up on the highlands, the troublesome terrain up here...
I'm assuming closer to water, closer to open spots, so that prey would mostly come to her instead of, having to go and hunt. Because, like, a big creature like this would require a lot of food and a lot of nutrition, or to be able to, maintain itself, and then having to run around and do a bunch of crazy shit would also add on top of all that energy cost. So being close to the watering hole would probably be a smart idea.
Wouldn't really be worth the squeeze. The slopes are way too steep to easily navigate, and the lack of appealing prey would make this area more trouble than it's worth. This decision to avoid this area would make it unlikely to bump into the king of the island, for now, nor the threats in the caves like the giant Terrapus Mordax queen and her flying horde. The smell of rotting flesh might nudge her to a certain type of gorge, but these steep walls of the pit
Oh, that gorge gave me nightmares as a kid. The one with all the bugs in it. I didn't like it. I did not like it. Also dogs.
and the lack of visible animals would likely make it a very costly venture to go down, and might even end up saving her life, since a bad fall coupled by getting swarmed by these bugs from hell might be too much for this hybrid.
Yeah, I did not like that part. That is probably one of the most gruesome deaths I have seen in a movie. Granted, I haven't seen a lot of slasher movies, but like, dude getting completely swarmed by a bunch of, sedan-sized grubs is not on my bingo card.
The Indominus does know to avoid unnecessary danger. If we saw the Indom not take the risk to go down this cliff or continue to take damage from an unknown weapon, she's not dumb enough to end up down here anyways. But in an area like this, well... It's about time our Indominus got thirsty. All this moving around and taking on vicious jungle predators in the hot jungle made her search out for a sip of water. Unfortunately for many creatures on this island, going on a water break here marked the end of their miserable lives. There are many creatures living in these waters. Being human-sized meant you had it all the more difficult dealing with detestful flesh-eating neopedes, an entire aquarium catalog of fish from hell, to insane blood-sucking worms capable of draining a human dry. An Indominus, however...
All kinds of no. Just all kinds of nope. Nope.
Would be a bit too large for any of these threats to cause any real trouble. Even the large 20-foot Mala Magnus would fall prey to animals like the V-Rex, and add to the fact that these were mostly herbivorous creatures. So, what else could cause trouble to this hybrid, who is technically still a noob to Skull Island? Undoubtedly hanging around here too long, and after taking a few sips of water, she'd run into one of her first major obstacles. The Pteranodon, a lethal...
The Pteranodon. It wouldn't be oxygen rich. We're probably going to be suspending that kind of disbelief at the moment. We're going to be just suspending that kind of disbelief. Just cook. Yeah. But Pteranodon. I'm sure it's like eel. Yeah, something like that. But why is this even a thing?
Mouthful of needle-like teeth weighing anywhere between 6 to 14 tons. With adult females measuring up to 50 feet in length. An aquatic creature, again. This is a fish like no other, a literal sea serpent evolved to torment thirsty lesser life forms in the island. And she'll...
Don't look back, keep swimming, you dumbass.
Will most definitely attack the Indominus if she gets too close to the rivers or swamps they dwell in. Assuming that this Indominus did get ambushed, her extra thick hide and resistant skull would be able to survive the initial attack, inflicting a very nasty wound if the first strike was at the belly, neck, or leg. If the fight continued in the water, the best bet the Indominus would have would be to use her intelligence to take the fight somewhere she has the advantage, using her strong arms and legs to shred into the body of the fish and escaping to shallower water. This will secure a win against a fish that is not that much bigger than an Indominus, but this could go completely the other way around if the Indominus caught a beached Pteranodon in the middle of a spa session. Yes, they occasionally beach themselves to rid their bodies of parasites, but with a new predator...
Well, that's a smart thing to do. You gotta get rid of the parasites and feed the other ecosystem and all that. Those parasites gotta be annoying. But yeah, no, that's neat, though. That's a neat little bit of ecology.
Popping out of nowhere, the much faster and dexterous Indominus would turn the powerful Piranha
Mealtime!
into shredded sashimi. The Indominus will likely choose not to stay in this environment. The murky waters and the assurance that taking another sip in this swamp will draw in another sea serpent, she would best leave these waterways.
Oh, that guy's not going to be on Skull Island too.
As fast as possible and search for easier prey. Indominus Rex so far has the odds in her favor of surviving this place, but she hasn't really had a real challenge yet. As she draws close to the open areas of the lowlands, the Indom will finally have time to rest and recuperate near things that look very familiar. Sauropods, hadrosaurs, ceratopsians, things that are not that dissimilar from those in Isla Nublar. She now has many different potential prey animals to fill her belly, or hunt for sport. These
Yeah, because she's an intelligent carnivore, right? So unfortunately, when it comes to when you have intelligence, you get bored easily. And if one of your best pastimes is hunting and killing things, you're going to do that.
plains have too many animals to discuss one by one, but in this episode we'll talk about the ones that will pose a considerable threat for the Indom, prey and rival predator alike. The Ferucatus. Length 34 feet, height 16, weighing at an estimated maximum of 6.
Jesus Christ, that thing's a tank. It's like a trike, but on steroids, mixed with a camel.
Tons. Weapons include powerful jaws, sharp beak, blunt impacts, and numerous frill horns. Need we say more? Skull Island's answer to Triceratops wasn't that much different in size from the Cretaceous ancestor.
And a really big
While
cow.
its horns were not ideal against theropods, such as that of Triceratops, this species could leverage the array of spines that it had on its face and a signature powerful bite Ceratopsians had. The Indominus would have to fight smart to avoid getting gored or overwhelmed by these herding animals. Going for the younger individuals and snagging them would get itself overwhelmed by an army of angry adults. So, using its superior senses and stealth abilities can be enough to take down an adult, still at a considerable risk. Over time, an intelligent creature like the Indom would develop strategies to take these down with less risk every time.
Or just not even bother with them at all. Just be like, you guys are too much trouble. I'm just going to go for these little guys. If I'm really hungry, I'm really desperate, I'll think about it, but until that point, I'm just going to deal with these guys over here.
But this isn't the only source of food. Better prey does exist. The Ligocristus. These hadrosaurs are very similar to the ones in Isla Sorna in terms of both size and habits. Unlike the ones that existed in the fossil record, these animals are borderline defenseless and much smaller than the giants like 16-ton Parasaurolophus or the 20-ton Shantungosaurus. Catching up to them will be hard, but she has shown to be really fast when she wants to. This dinosaur and those other animals as defenseless as this one are the type to be killed for sport. Like the case with the Apatosaurus in the Isla Nublar incident, their Skull Island counterparts are a different story. Brontosaurus, length 80 to 120 feet.
Oh, this was just straight up being called a Bronto. Oh, okay. Fair enough then.
Height 40, estimated weight 70 to 90 tons. Weapons,
Jesus.
huge size, crushing tail, trampling, and herding behavior. While the Indom utterly slaughtered many of the sauropods in Jurassic World, Brontosaurus baxteri from Skull Island tips the scales with their behavior and sheer size. The InGen Apatosaurus are many times lighter than the robust, longer, and tall.
Yeah, these guys are a little bit bigger. Oh, and the ones from the island were Apatosaurus, not Brontosaurus? Okay, fair enough then. You guys are pretty big.
Taller Brontosaurus. Using the square cube law, the largest Brontosaurus could exceed 85 tons. That's even heavier than the Brachiosaurus from Jurassic Park. And unlike InGen stock, which were cared for in captivity and had very close to never faced a predator in years, these Brontosaurus would be growing up in the most predator-heavy environments imaginable, without going extinct, either by fighting back or even the mere act of fleeing. The latter method, ironically,
Bro just flew over and kicked the raptor thing in the
either by
face.
fighting back
Look at that.
or even the mere
The guy's on the ground, like, "Rah!" Boot to the head. That was so
The
good.
latter method, ironically, would end up being the most deadly. Once this herd is spooked into a stampede, a mini extinction event is bound to occur. If there's one animal that can teach how to kill an innumerable amount of animals in minutes, it's this one. The Natural History Companion book, World of Kong, A Natural History of Skull Island, clarifies that not even a V-Rex would pick a fight with a Brontosaurus. Their stampedes could potentially span many miles, killing any unfortunate creatures that happen to be in the way, both the innocent and the instigators. Fortunately, the Indominus's fast running speeds would be enough to get it out of the way in time. And in the act of spooking them, they end up killing more Apatosaurus and other creatures than she initially imagined. All
Which means more food. as long as she survives the initial stampede.
This commotion, bellowing sounds of injured animals, and the smell of blood and guts splattered over the floor attracts what may be the Indominus's biggest nightmare. Vastatosaurus Rex. Length 50 feet, height.
Okay, this must be the V-Rex that he was talking about. I was kind of curious what the hell he was talking about with V-Rex. This must be it.
20, weight at an estimated 20 tons. Weapons, massive jaws, bludgeoning skull, broad tail. Drawn to the smell of blood and often stealing kills from their own kin and other predators, it would be inevitable that an Indominus will find herself confronted by the largest predator on the island. And the most powerful theropod dinosaur to exist in this universe. Prime hunting ground like this would almost certainly already be claimed by a V-Rex.
It looks like a creature from Monster Hunter, not gonna lie. It kind of almost looks like Devil Joe, I think is his name. Is that the name? Yeah, Devil Joe. I literally forgot what his full name is, so instead of typing in Devil Joe to be sure, I typed in Pickle Monster from Monster Hunter, because apparently people call him a pickle.
So, how would this play out at this point in time? Note that at the point of her death, the Indominus was not fully grown. Resurrected, she is now a little more than 40 feet in length, still 10 feet shorter than a robust V-Rex. Given the V-Rex did descend from T-Rex, it is possible that the hybrid might try to communicate with this being that looks like her, but this wouldn't be successful. 65 million years is a lot of time for verbal language to change, and the V-Rex are extremely aggressive towards outsiders on their territory. Again,
doesn't matter your breed or your species, you could be the same thing. You're in the wrong spot, bud.
A fully grown V-Rex, things don't really look that good. It's important to note here that even if the Indominus is agile in her own right, these V-Rexes are not far behind. In fact, they may be on equal footing. Coming from the massively agile T-Rex lineage, these animals' bone structure allows this creature to
And Kong took on 3 of these at once. Holy crap.
Bend and turn in ways its ancestor couldn't. Not to mention its huge noggin with a bite that could snap off entire limbs. And if the Indominus ever comes across one of these 3, the other 2 will also pull up on her. The best chance the Indominus has to win this confrontation, if at all, would be to rely mostly on her stealth abilities. But even then, killing one V-Rex quickly will be challenging. And if she fails, for the first time in her life, she'll be the one being hunted. It would be the first time she would ever encounter another land predator larger than herself. And frankly, her first humbling experience that she may be able to walk away from. If she survives
might be able to. Just stay out of their way, buddy. You'll be fine.
long enough, she may come back for a rematch whenever she comes of age. If she were to thrive in the open lowlands of Skull Island, she would have to find an area claimed by a lesser predator, a smaller V-Rex. Here, things may look a bit more favorable, but there's another familiar scent lurking in the air. One that may shift the dynamics of this island and one day establish her as queen. So far, the Indominus has fared fairly well in the jungle and lowlands as long as she stayed out of trouble. Being in these 2 environments would also lead to confrontations against one of the smartest predators of the island, Vastatosaurus. Now, there are
the Bananasaurus.
There are 2 varieties of these here. One being the smaller variety, Vastatosaurus impavidus, which are nocturnal and will likely just keep their distance from the Indom, and the more troublesome type, Vastatosaurus savidicus, the crafty bastards we saw in the 2005 film. These were around the size of a Utah Raptor or Indoraptor, very intelligent and capable of cleverly navigating through any territory, and smart enough to trigger Brontosaurus stampedes to do the killing for them.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about it again. The animation and, like, everything is really interesting. I'm liking these videos. It's hard for me to get a lot of commentary on because, once again, I think I need to deep dive into the Skull Island lore, into the monsterverse lore in order to, like, have a better understanding of all this sort of thing, because right now it's just seeming like a lot of dinosaur on dinosaur sort of, like, power scaling. It's a neat idea. I think the Indo might be a little over its head on this island if, like, in terms of survival, it'll probably be fine. It'll probably be fine. It'll live a decent amount of time, but I don't know.
Interesting dynamic interactions are seen between two intelligent animals. And in this case, if the Indominus ever runs into a group of these, two things may happen. One, a solid pack of Vastatosaurus is no stranger to standing up to a single V-Rex, so a slightly smaller animal will be no different. While these are raptors, they are a different species very far removed from anything Jurassic World cooked up. So, how would these
The Indominus Rex probably would not be able to, control it. However, might be able to appeal to it.
communicate? There is an alternative. The Natural History book mentions that this kind of raptor chiefly communicates with body language, and a perceptive Indominus will observe and learn to break a language barrier in a very short time. Vastatosaurus are led by an alpha pair, and the easiest way to prevent a conflict against yet another predator is to convince them that she herself is a valuable ally, either by gifting kills or assisting the pack in a standoff against
either a gifted ally or be stronger than the leading pair.
the V-Rex, slowly but surely proving herself invaluable and eventually taking control of the pack. At this point, it is imperative for the Indominus Rex to settle down, since for the entirety of the simulation so far, she'd been met with endless obstacles. Here, she has her best chance, and she'd best take it. Taking control of the pack by force would either cause them to disperse or gang up on her, similar to how she didn't kill Blue when assuming leadership of the squad. Yes, the Indominus can be prone to moments of mania and craziness, but she is a cognizant animal. She can act collected if she wants to. In turn, the Vastatosaurus are smart enough to take advantage of a beneficial situation, the result being a brand new pack structure with the pack itself acting as a backup to the Indominus, now tilting the...
Okay, so now I don't think it's enough to tilt it into her favor for being able to take on Kong. God, no. Kong wins. But against the Vastatosaurus, the V-Rexes, probably actually.
Odds in confrontations against the other two monarch species in Skull Island. And that's with her not being fully grown yet. A pack like this has even shown up in the Kong lore before. In Joseph DeVito's canonical prequel universe to the original 1933 film, the raptor species called Death Runners were led by a gigantic raptor-like dinosaur called Gaw, who looked similar to the Indominus in some ways.
A little bit more person-like.
This force, unlike anything this island has ever seen, will now be strong enough to establish a territory. Taking down a single V-Rex and now taking over its territory, repelling the others with strength in numbers. Indominus is now one step closer to not only surviving here, but taking over. One day...
Look, if you want to overwhelm your D&D party, having one really big monster is scary. But having a bunch of little monsters, that is terrifying, because action economy usually tends to win.
The Indominus takes a deep breath, but picks up another familiar scent, one which brings back dark memories and triggers her thirst for blood. Indominus Rex absolutely hates humans. She wouldn't have gone out of her way to ambush and kill them at every opportunity she got if she didn't.
True.
So, upon discovering the wall, she would waste no time trying to get around and getting at the humans. Here...
That's a good response to that. 20 Jurassics, then.
These guys aren't armed with rifles, 50s, or RPGs. Compared to Jurassic Park's asset containment units, these guys armed with sharp sticks and clubs wouldn't stand a chance.
No.
They do have the upper hand in one thing, though. Note that in this scenario, the Indominus really wouldn't be able to get into the village because, hilarious as this is to say, the wall in this primitive setting has better security than Jurassic World.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Much larger, the walls in Jurassic World were designed for, viewing purposes. The walls here are just straight up designed to keep things out. You do not get in, period. So, yeah, no. The walls in Jurassic World are definitely not designed as well.
Why? Because they had the sense to have a moat around the wall with a sheer drop at the bottom. This may have just been clever placement of the village. Now, this wall could be breached by an especially motivated Kong with superb leaping abilities.
But that's Kong. This is the Indo.
Something the Indom can't do, but the Raptors could have an easier time trying to somehow cross if motivated enough. But this wouldn't come across more than just harassing the village walls. To their perspective, the Indominus would be like nothing they had ever encountered before. She looks like the type of dinosaurs they are most scared of, but more intelligent, leads an army of raptor packs, and can seemingly disappear in plain sight, and clearly hates them just for existing. To them, the Indominus Rex is a demon.
Yeah, no, this thing would be a problem. I mean, they have to leave the village every now and then, right? Get some hunting parties, that sort of thing. She might not be able to get in there specifically very often, but if she sees you out in the wild, it's on sight.
And what do scared people with faith do when they are confronted with a demon?
Shoot it with a gun.
They ask their god for help. King Kong, height 25 feet, weight approximately 20 tons. Abilities: dexterous hands and feet, climbing, powerful jaws, potential tool use, high pain tolerance.
Potential pain use? Doesn't he have an axe?
Despite being one of the smallest cinematic versions of the 8th wonder of the world, the 2005 King Kong still weighs more than the Indominus due to mammals having higher body density than dinosaurs. In general, the ape is taller, heavier, and somewhat physically stronger, and has additional assets such as better
plot armor. He's got plot armor,
vertical maneuverability, and tool use. This entire time, the Indominus Rex has wandered, cautiously avoiding threats, survived, and prevailed. And in the process, becoming the wielder of the most deadly force on this island. Now that she commands a Vastatosaurus army and is fully grown, her war waged with the natives of this island climaxed to the face-off that will change the fate of this island for some time to come. It has all led to this.
Yeah, that's a good point. King Kong can only be killed by airplanes while climbing a tower. Exactly. We don't see any planes. The Indo doesn't have a pilot's license, and I don't see any towers nearby. Sorry, Indo, you might be kind of pooched. Oh, I guess we have a part 2 to watch. Indo versus Kong. Personally, Kong, I think, wins. I think Kong takes us. But that was Goji Center. I'm interested. I think I need to learn a lot more about the monsterverse, like I said earlier. So if you have any good places for me to start, let me know in the comments and all that fun stuff, okay? Let me know. Wah. Hey, did you enjoy that? Was it funny? Well, come and check it out live over at twitch.tv/freeform_art. Make sure you put the _art. We have lots of fun there. We enjoy ourselves, and we want to see you over there. So come on and hang out. See you in a bit.